Hey, I'm Jason Andrews, and we're here at Spotlight Sound Studio. And today I have the amazing Jerome Flood in here to play some drums for me. I'm lucky enough to have him here on a session tracking some stuff today, and we thought we'd put together this little video talking about how we have everything set up and how I record drums here. So I'm going to take you over to the kit and kind of give you the rundown. So this is a Tama Silver Star kit. It's a birch kind of jazz kit. But I really love it in the studio. It's real punchy and tight. And we've got this Vinnie Paul signature snare drum. It's a maple drum. It's super deep. We're doing some rock tunes, so it's going to sound extra beefy for us. Let's see, as far as mics and everything, where to begin? Over here on the hats, I've got the Neumann KM184 small diaphragm condenser mics. Well, I say mics because I also have the same thing on the ride. And then for the overheads, I have a matched pair of the Neumann U87s. And so those pick up the cymbals and kind of the full body of the kit. And on the snare, I'm miking both the top and the bottom with Shure SM57s. The toms, I have Sennheiser MD421s. And then out on the kick here, I've got a Royer ribbon mic on the outside, R121, and then the SM57 on the inside. And the inside kind of gets the attack of the beater and kind of a punchier sound, where the outside gets more of the low end and the body of the bass drum. And it being outside of the kick, it picks up some of the whole kit. I also have a stereo pair of the... Let's see, those are the AKG 414s, large diaphragm condenser pair that's just kind of picking up the ambience of the room. And that's basically it as far as how these mics are set up. I guess the only other thing that I feel like people might ask is about heads. I've got emperors on the whole kit. Coated emperors on the toms. That's the 2-ply head, so those are nice and warm. And we've got the Remo Emperor X on the snare, which is also a 2-ply, but it's got like the control sound dot like underneath. So that kind of kills some of the overtones, but the snare still has a lot of body to it. We've got these dots. What are they? Drum dots, Jerome?
Drum dots.
Jerome turned me onto these drum dots. They're like moon gels, but I guess they're better. They come in 2 different sizes, which is cool, as opposed to the moon gels. But they're all kind of in the same family. I got a couple moon gels on the toms here, but I guess that's about it. I guess next I'll take you guys into the control room and show you how I have all these mics hooked up as far as preamps, compressors, EQs, and all that, and how we get into the system. Okay, so we're here in the control room, and now I'm going to explain how I took all of those microphones that are around the drum set, ran them through preamps, equalizers, and whatnot to get them into the converter so that we can actually record them. So starting with the bass drum, I took the SM57 that's on the inside of the bass drum, and I ran that into the API 512C mic preamp. And then out of that, instead of going directly into the converters, I ran it into the DBX 905 equalizer and added a little bit of top end so that the bass drum is really punchy. And then for the outside, I used the Royer R121 ribbon microphone, and I also ran that into an API 512C, but I didn't run an equalizer after that, and just took both of those in. So I blended those 2 sounds kind of evenly to get the nice punch and the nice round sound of the outside of the bass drum, and here's what those sound like together. For the snare drum, I took the SM57 that's on the top and ran that into the BAE 1073D, which is probably my favorite preamp that I have here. It's a clone of the Neve 1073. It's great. It's got EQ on it. I added a little bit of top end to the snare and a little bit of 120 hertz to boost kind of the body of the snare. I'm sorry, it's 110 hertz actually on there. But that's on the top, and then on the bottom I'm using the Focusrite ISA 220. I flipped the phase on it, and that's also an SM57, and then I blended those together about evenly. The bottom head with the snare is a little bit less in the mix, but here's what those sound like together for the snare. For the toms, I used the Sennheiser 421 microphones on the top of the rack tom and the floor tom, and then I just ran those straight into the ISA 428 Focusrite preamp and right into the converters. There's no EQ or anything on those. So that's a pretty simple setup. Here's what the toms sound like. For the hi-hat and the ride, I have the Neumann KM184 small diaphragm condenser microphones on both of those cymbals, and I'm running those into the ISA 428 preamp by Focusrite, and all those needs a little phantom power and some high-pass filters to get those sounding right. And here's what the hi-hats sound like. And here's what the ride sounds like. For the overheads, I have a matched pair of Neumann U87s, and I'm running those into the Avalon AD 2022 preamp, and then out of that preamp, I'm going into an equalizer, the Bax EQ by Dangerous Music, and I'm just adding a little bit of top end to the cymbals and the overall kit. And I have a high pass filter going that is set at 30 hertz. So anything low, any of that rumble is just sort of cut out. And then I'm going into the TK Audio BC2ME mastering compressor, and I'm just taking off about a decibel or so on those harder snare hits. Here's what the overheads sound like. And last but not least, what really pulls it all together are the room mics. I have a pair of AKG 414 microphones, and I'm running those into the Tube Universal Audio 610. It's the 2610 preamp, stereo preamp. Not doing anything with the EQ, just using that preamp and then going directly into the 1176. I have two 1176s up here, and I'm using those on a 4-to-1 and just kind of crushing the rooms to kind of bring out some life. And here's what the room mics sound like. That basically covers it as far as how all the mics are set up and running into the Pro Tools system. Now I'm going to give Jerome a chance to shine and let him play the full kit. If you guys liked this video, be sure to hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel. We're making these videos for you guys, so if there's anything that you want to hear or any comments that you have, leave those below, and we'll see you next time.